We are live.
I am a poor wayfaring stranger, and I'm traveling through this world of woe. But there's no sickness, toil, nor danger in that bright land to which I go. I'm going there to see my loved one. They said they'd meet me when I come. I'm only going over Jordan, only going over home. Won't you come with me, sweet brother? There where the air is warm and sweet. Won't you come with me, my sister? Find a sacred place to rest your weary feet. I'm going there to see my loved one. They said they'd meet me when I come. I'm only going over Jordan, only going over home. I know dark clouds will hover o'er me, and I know the way is rough and steep. Golden fields lie out before me. They're where my eyes so more shall weep. over Jordan. Only going over home. Welcome, friends. This is a very special day because I have a very special guest whom you'll meet in a little while. A few things first. First of all, I would like to give a shout out to a person who has a new title now in our concert series, Emily Jane, whom you have seen week after week after week. We're now going to refer to her as our CRC, which is an interesting pun because Emily Jane and Beverly and I were all brought up in the Christian Reformed Church. But in our case, CRC means the call and response commentator. So there you are, our resident poet and call and response commentator, Emily Jane. It's good to see you in the show. Shout out to lots of people. Shout out to Susan in San Antonio. Shout out to Jerry and Mary Joy in Phoenix. Shout out to William and Marianne. Shout out to Tony and Marianne in Wheaton, Illinois. Shout out to all the people who week after week after week show up for this event. This week we're making a special recognition because it's Earth Day and because of all the changes that are happening, not only in our Earth, but change around the country and around the world. We're making a special recognition of our album called Sea Change. A sea change is one of those times when everything changes. Everything goes through a metamorphosis. And because of what's happening in the environment, because of the racial issues that are happening around the world, because there's so many things, I think this album is really in the right place at the right time. So I'm encouraging folks to download or buy the CD of our album called Sea Change. Next week, we'll be blessed with two friends of ours who are spoken word artists, Laura Cook, whom you've seen before on this show, and a young man named Jermaine Jackson from Oakland, who is a spoken word artist. Our subject for next week is called Rise Up. Today it's Songs for the Time in Between. Next week it's Rise Up. And if you have a story about a rise up moment, we'd love to have you write it to us. It could be that moment when you discovered that horrible thing that had happened to you, there was a cure for it, or it may have been a time when you decided you were not going to be slowed down by those things that had changed you, or it may have been that moment when you had a reconciliation in your family. It may have been that moment when depression gave way to a new sense of hope. Who knows? But if you've got a rising up story, we'd love to hear it. Now, Songs for the Time in Between. This is a reflection on the story that we hear in the Gospel of John about Jesus turning the water into wine. And this reflection comes from a sermon by our friend Jim Forbes, whom you've seen on this show. He did a sermon about the whole idea that our culture has run out of wine. Wine, that substance that brings us together, that substance that makes joy, that substance that makes party. We have run out of emotional and psychological and spiritual wine. And this is a time in between. And we're hoping that wine will flow again in those ways. So hear this, called The Gift of Wine. As I look around me, Clearly I can see life does not begin to be what life was meant to be. Days have lost their splendor, nights have lost their shine. All is dry and thirsty since the feast is out of wine. Riches all around us, possessions piled high, symbols of our striving rising high into the sky. Frantically we're searching for what we cannot find, and there is no satisfaction since the feast is out of wine. Wine of sweet commune, wine of home and place, wine of love and laughter, wine of gift and grace. Love whose blood was freely shed, a new life to release. Grant to us the gift of wine, till all our thirsting cease. Are rising, see the wars go on, the wealthy rule by treachery, all hope for peace is gone. Brothers kill one another for rewards they'll never find, and hearts have turned to hubris since the feast is out of wine. Wine of sweet communion, wine of home and place, wine of love and laughter, wine of gift and grace. Love whose blood was freely shed, a new life to release. Grant to us the gift of wine, till all our thirsting Now my thoughts turn inward. Clearly I can see my heart is like a desert. There's a mighty thirst in me. Days that once were a miracle now have lost their shine, and all I taste is tedious, since my soul is out of wine. Wine of sweet communion, wine of home and place, wine of love and laughter, wine of gift and grace. Love whose blood was freely shed, a new life to release. Grant to us the gift of wine, till all our thirsting cease. One of the things about the time in between is that you can't go back. And sometimes you think you can't go forward. I imagine those friends of Jesus in those days after the Easter and between that time and the Pentecost, gathering in the upper room saying, "What now? He's gone and we're here. And where do we go from here? What in the world do we do? How do we deal with this stuff?" I wrote a song several years ago called "You Can't Go Back," and I feel that way in so many ways. We can't go back to the way we have mistreated the earth. We just plain can't. We can't go back to the racism, to the rampant systemic racial tragedy that white people have inflicted upon the world. We simply can't. Some people would like us to go back there, but we can't. We can't go back to the naivety with which I grew up. When I was a boy growing up in the 50s and early 60s, well, life was wonderful, right? Had no clue as to what was going on and the tragedies that were going on all around the world. And what my people, people like me had done in the world, we can't go back to that naivete. So try this on for size. It's called "You Can't Go Back." Running away, standing on the edge of a brand new tomorrow, and we don't know the rules of the game. Can't avoid the pain and we can't avoid the sorrow, and we wish we had somebody to blame. Standing on the edge of a brand new day, and someone took away the signs. Praying for the power and praying for the courage, risk crossing over the line. You can't go back to the ways of yesterday. Yeah, you can't go back to the ways of yesterday. Hiding. You got to stop running away. Standing on the edge of confusion, and we don't know the shape of the dream. House that we built like a fortress is coming apart at the seams. Standing on the edge of disaster, looking for a light on the way. Praying for the power and courage to run till we find the new day. Oh, you can't go back to the ways of yesterday. Oh, you can't go back to the ways of yesterday. Hiding. You got to stop running away. Standing where the river is flooded, and still the skies are bursting with rain. The house garden we planted is gone now, and we'll never see that garden again. Standing where the current is raging, and we think we can't take anymore. praying for the power and praying for the courage to swim till we get to the shore. You can't go back to the ways of yesterday. You can't go back to the ways of yesterday. You got to stop hiding. You got to stop running away. Can't go back, can't go back, you can't go back, can't go back, you can't go back, can't go back, you can't go back to the ways of yesterday. And there's a guy who's not going back. He's forging new territory, musically and theologically and spiritually. I've enjoyed his music for a long time. He's one of those sensitive, creative songwriters who just never is satisfied with status quo. He's always wanting to do something unique. And his implements are simple. It's Steve Bell and his guitar. I would like for you to meet my friend, longtime person whom I've admired. I would like for you to meet songwriter, singer, theologian, philosopher, thinker, and companion Steve Bell. Hello, Steve.
Ken, oh my goodness, it's so good to hear you.
How you be, buddy?
I'm doing just fine. I'm up here in Winnipeg, and today we actually had a warm, sunny day, so that's good. You know, it's a nice. It's a bit of a sea change from what we've had here.
We have been together a couple of times in the past.
Yeah.
Very interesting events.
Yeah.
One of them was an event that neither of us thought we would ever be a part of, but we ended up being there at the same time. And that little event in Indianapolis, I think you ought to tell that story. It's an interesting story.
It was the praise gathering, right? With the
it was a praise gathering. Bill and Gloria Gaither's praise gathering.
And the events that they have there, the evenings are these massive concerts in a huge arena and 20,000 people, something like that. You know, rock and roll. You know, all the way.
Yeah.
And then during the day, there's smaller concerts, and the smaller concerts are 2,000 to 3,000 people. And you and I, and Kathy Ciccoli, and someone else were on the same gig.
Yeah.
And I was excited to meet you because I had heard your music for years. A song I've covered on one of my albums, the Riddle song, was in our songbook. And that's how I first heard of you, was this one song that captured me. So I was going to meet and follow, the great Ken Medema. And so I was quite nervous. And then I didn't realize that you did this whole thing about making up songs on the spot. Yeah. So you sang a bunch of songs like you just did, and then there was a microphone out there, and you said, "Someone tell me a story, make it funny." And I remember someone told us something that happened with their dog that morning, and then you took about a second, and a minute later, this whole fully formed song, based on that narrative, came out. I'd never seen anything like it. And then the next story someone told you was deeper, and it was more personal, and then the final one was like seriously personal. I remember it was a painful story. And I'm thinking, oh, this is going too far. And you so beautifully composed a song on the spot that has all slayed. And I'm just sitting there thinking, what kind of wizardry is this? I've never seen anything like it. And then I had to follow you. And I remember thinking, I have no chance here. Like, this is just awful.
Oh, but yours...
So I got up on the stage. I was introduced after you did your thing, and you're sitting right in front of me, and I didn't know how to even begin. And so I just looked at the crowd and I said, "I just need you to know that I make up all my songs on the spot too. I just don't make a big deal out of it." and
That was the perfect
and that
comeback.
that won them, like that. So that
Well,
sort of
it
bought
did
me.
because the
Yeah,
place broke up. I mean, the place came apart. It was
that's all I could
wonderful.
do. It was all I could do. Yeah, yeah,
So you have a new album, which I have
yeah.
been listening to now for a couple of months.
Oh, good.
And it has the most interesting title. And I would like for you to explain to us, why did you title your album what you titled it?
Okay. It's called "Wouldn't You Love to Know." So it's a song. It's a question, and it's the lead song. It was titled after, and I'm going to do the song in a minute. It was titled after um, a, a blog that was online that I discovered by N.T. Wright. Do you know that guy?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, English theologian and
Yep.
brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And
Yes,
it was just
brilliant.
about it was a brief blog, but it talked about what I've come to understand technically is critical realist epistemology. No, I don't have any.
Hello.
Yeah, I don't have those kinds of theological chops, so that means nothing to me. But what he was posing the idea that we don't really know deeply and truly the essence of anything that we don't first love. That love precedes knowledge. And so you can know about things, but you don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
things,
yeah, yeah.
right? So I can describe my wife to you that you would recognize her. That doesn't mean you know her, right? If you really
Right.
wanted to get to know my wife, she would have to reveal herself to you, and she's not going to
Yep.
do that unless she feels loved and cherished. It's just
Yep.
not going to
Yep.
happen. So he makes the case that love precedes knowledge, and in an age of, and I think this really actually suits Earth Day, that we're never going to protect and save what we don't love. If we don't love it,
Oh,
game is
yeah.
over, right? And we're not gonna protect it because we don't know it, because we don't love it, right? And so then he asked the question at the end of this blog. You'll get a kick out of this. He said, "So if it's true that you can't know what you don't love," and then he says this pithy little line. He says, "Then wouldn't you love to know?" And as a songwriter, I go, a song.
It's a song,
It's a
yes.
song. Like we're always looking for that little cute line, right? That you could rip off of. So
It's the hook.
it's
Yep,
the
it's the
hook. And
hook.
so I just immediately freaked out. I just got this great little hook, and this song came from it. So that was
Okay.
that was the album. That's the song that kickstarted the series of songs. That was my latest album.
And
Yeah.
and now you got to sing it. Now that
I'll sing it for you.
you have whetted our appetite.
Okay, yes, I'll do my best. I haven't been exactly doing live recording or singing lately, but I should be able to pull this off. So this is "Wouldn't You Love to Know?" It's my lyrics, but it's. I mean, it's if you read his article, you'd
Yeah.
see
Okay.
him all over it, right? Okay. If you have to love the truth just to know if it is true, wouldn't you love to know? If the essence of a thing begs to hear your tender wooing, wouldn't you love to know? If you can't know a part without delighting in the whole, wouldn't you love to know? If you'd never know a kiss without first cherishing the soul, wouldn't you love to know? To know as you are known, simply love as you are loved. Gently turn this fertile loam to unearth the fragrance of the lover's drug. From the far cloud-hidden star to the solitary bug, wouldn't you love to know? Frankenstein and Faust are yet the rage, unspeakable the severing damage done. Yet on the wind the distant sound of drum, and the sweetness of the sage still might come a kinder age. See the wonder-stricken child, hear the elders wise in song. Wouldn't you love to know? Wouldn't you love to know? Wouldn't you love to know?
Speak to me, O rocks, and I will hold you carefully. Speak to me, O tree, and I will wrap my arms around you. Speak to me, O child, and I will take you in my arms. Better to know you, better to know you. Speak to me, oh grandma, lying in your bed. Speak to me, oh young man, with visions in your head. Speak to me, oh collie dog. Talk to me just now, the better to know you. The better to know you. I am not a wolf with teeth prepared to bite. I am simply me, getting through this night. Speak to me, oh dark, until I see the light, the better to know, the better to know. Speak to me, songwriter, of your inmost grief, your joys and all your passions, your resting and relief. And I will speak to you, and you have spoken to me. The better to know you, the better to love you, the better to know you. Wouldn't you like to know, to love? You know, Steve, we should do a gig sometime together.
Yeah.
We were actually scheduled to do something in April of 2019. It never worked, but it was going to do a big thing up in Toronto, I think.
Yeah.
I wish that would have happened. It'd be fun for us to bounce off each other. And
You know what? I do. I've done several concert tours with friends where we don't really plan anything. We get on stage and we just trade songs all night. And I'm getting the feeling you would be a good a partner for this kind of thing. So I'll bring you up, and we'll do a Canadian tour.
What a deal.
Yeah,
What a deal.
like, that would be so. People would absolutely love that. I would love for my folks to meet you. Like they would really love this. Yeah.
So, Sonia, I knocked the camera. Let's fix that. So tell me, before I ask you to sing again,
Okay.
tell me where your passions lie right now. What are the things that your heart is saying, this is bottom line, this has got to happen? Whether it's about your own life or about what has to happen in the world around you, where does this old heart beat that says, this got to happen?
You know, if I could, like, I'm not really a message guy. I'm not really smart enough to have messages for other people. And most of my songs are really, in a sense, my prayer journal for the most part.
Yep.
But if I think I would love to communicate one thing well in my life, it'd be how important I think it would be for the church to recover the doctrine of and the practical outworking of God being triune.
Huh.
That God is being in relationship.
Yeah.
Whatever else you want to say about Father, Son, Spirit, or Mother,
Yeah.
Creator, all those like all those other issues aside, that God's very being is a dynamic relationality of mutual self-donating love. And here's the kicker: we've been made in the image of God.
Uh-huh.
And when we look at environmental concerns, when we look at racism, when we look at all the issues that we're facing, pandemic and how to respond in our neighborhoods, and all the, like, there's a reason why it hurts when we don't take care of each other,
Yeah.
why it hurts emotionally. It's because we were created for love. We were created to what's the word I'm looking for here? Constitute each other.
Yeah.
When I was
Yeah.
when my dad died a couple years ago, and that's I could talk about him for years. But when he after he died, and one night I was lying in bed and I was wondering if when I get to that stage of my life, if I have the ability to think clearly, and I'm lying on my deathbed, and I allow myself to ask this one question: what do I love the most about Steve Bell?
Oh.
And if I was going to answer that, and I started thinking about what is it I love about me, everything that I love the most requires someone else for it to be true.
Uh-huh.
I'm the grandson of George and Dorothy Bell, who I adore. I kind of need them to be that.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm the son of Marie and Alfred. I need them to be that. I'm the husband of Nancy. I need Nancy to be her husband. I'm the parent, the father of Jesse and Sarah and Micah.
Yep.
I
Yep.
require them to be that thing I love about
Yeah.
me. I'm a neighbor. I'm a friend. I'm a citizen. Every single thing that I do that I love the most about me requires someone else for that to be true. We were made to constitute each other, and there's a good theological reason for that. That we've been made in the image of God, the Father who pours His life into the Son who pours His life
And
into the.
and so that image is all about relationships.
It's all about, and it's
Yep.
dynamic, right?
Yep.
It's not static. It's dynamic, and it's loving, and its energy is in self-donation, in the kenosis, the giving of space for the other. And I think for us to recover that as a church I think it's really super important. I mean, that's what strikes me anyway. If I could get one message out, that would be it.
Well, you just got it out to several hundred people down here.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to hear another song, sir, if you
Okay.
don't mind.
Sure. I'm gonna do a psalm. When we talked about tonight, the word waiting came up, season of waiting, time between times, and I have a song from Psalm 62, "Wait Alone in Stillness." And in the last 4 years, I think have been probably the most agitated years of my life.
Okay.
What's happening in American politics, what's happening with environmental concerns, and now with pandemic, there's just so much that disturbs our peace. And
Yeah.
I tend to be a bit of an activist. I get involved in things, and I get tired and weary and beaten up
Yep.
and discouraged. And I stumbled across Psalm 62 in this line, "Wait alone in stillness, O my soul." And I wept, and I wept, and I wept, and I wept, and I wept. And feel that as much as I sort of want to get into the fray and get my opinion out there, I keep on hearing Spirit saying to me, "Wait alone in stillness."
Okay.
And so that's where this song comes from. So Psalm 62 inspires it anyways. On God alone my soul in stillness waits, the glory and the joy of my salvation, the rock on which all form of fury breaks, my stronghold so that I will not be shaken. Wait alone in stillness, oh my soul. Wait alone in stillness, wait alone, oh my soul. The steadfast love of God be all my strength, my refuge, my hope, and my elation. The enemies of love in vain rehearse a plot to undermine the hope of nations. With tongues they bless, but with their hearts they curse, and lie in wait to bait love's termination. But wait alone in stillness, oh my soul. Wait alone in stillness, wait alone, oh my soul. The steadfast love of God be all my strength, my refuge, my hope, and my elation. We children of the earth are but a breath. On the scales we are lighter than a feather. I believe and I have heard it said, all power belongs to God altogether. Wait alone in stillness, oh my soul. Wait alone in stillness, wait alone, oh my soul. The steadfast love of God be all our strength, our refuge, our hope, and our elation.
I'm a guy who wants to be on the move. Out there doing something for the good. I want to be running somewhere for love. Walking down the street, showing who I am. I want to be playing songs somewhere. Want to be flying here and there. Want to be doing something ultra worthwhile. And now I'm gonna hear your voice always in my head. It's never gonna leave me alone. You'll sing to me, wait in stillness, oh my soul. Wait in stillness alone, oh my soul. Thanks a lot. You messed me up. You turned me around. You bid me stop. You say don't run. You say there's a time. The time will come. But just for now. So when I hear you singing so to me, it makes me just a little bit perturbed. I really want to run and go somewhere, and now my running pace has been disturbed. But you will be a mentor for me, sir. And your voice will always be here in my soul, bidding me to wait a little while until the time has come when I am whole. I'll hear you say, wait alone, oh my soul. Wait, 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 wait alone, oh my soul. When you start to run, you'll know when it is time. And wouldn't you love to know when that time comes?
Are you serious? What?
Steve Bell, you're a friend, a teacher, a mentor. I love your singing. I love your songwriting, but more than that, I love your soul. Because what I see that permeates the music is this loving presence, this passionate, loving presence that turns toward the will of God. And I thank you for that.
Well, you're a brother in that, my friend.
Well, stick around after the show. We'll chat a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful to see you.
You too.
People, the new album is called Wouldn't You Love to Know? You can get it wherever fine albums are sold. And so pick it up and or buy the CD or download it or however you need to get it. But get it. It is chock full of really soulful, great stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
You're very welcome again. Thank you.
So I'm thinking about the time in between, and I'm thinking about those friends of Jesus who were hanging around in upper rooms between Easter and Pentecost, telling stories. And I wonder if they sat around reflecting and thinking to themselves, what do we do now? Where do we go from here? And I can just imagine Peter, old rugged Peter, sort of reduced to tears, but also sort of having to stop that big mouth of his and that sort of running personality of his, having to stop all that and think about what and where. Well, I saw him first by the sea, heard him saying, "Follow me." Simon, my man, you'll be fishing again. This time you'll be going after women and men. Leave your nets, boys, and leave your trade. Leave the paltry little plans you made. Come and be what you were born to be. Come along and follow me. He had no cash, no security, no good connections, no temple authority. Had no place he could call his own. Somehow, like a magnet, he kept leading us on, and he said, "Leave your nets, boys, and leave your trade. Leave those paltry little plans you made, plans you made, plans you made. Come and be what you were born to be. Come along and follow me." I could never have known on that day by the sea, could never have known the plans he was making. And if I had known, I would never have gone. The risk was much too high for the taking, yeah. Saw him first by the sea. Look at me now, and you can see. Simon, my man, you'll be fishing again. But here I am, frightened of the power of bad men. I left my nets, sure I left my trade. Left those those paltry little plans I made. Come and be what you were born to be, he said. Come along. Well, I came along, and now I'm not so strong. I'm here and he is gone. Come along, and it all went wrong. Come along, oh sure, and follow me. I wonder if they sat around breaking bread together and having a cup of wine and saying, remember? Remember the last time he was with us? How he broke the bread and gave us some wine and said, whenever you eat and drink, think about me. Think about my body broken, and think about the covenant in my blood. And I wonder if they did that in those trying days between Easter and Pentecost, when the fire had not yet come and the wind had not yet blown. Some of us do communion every week in our churches, and some of us only do it once a month. Some of us rarely do it at all. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful way to celebrate those moments in between. That time when we're not sure what it means to go forward, and we know we can't go back. So to finish, I'd like to sing you a song called Come Away. It's really all about coming together to share the bread and the wine, coming together to share a little feast, coming together to look into each other's eyes, and to be able to say, I love you. I want to know you. Or maybe, I know you, I want to love you. Or maybe, wouldn't you like to know me? Wouldn't you like to know how to love, or love how to know me? However that goes, maybe coming away in that moment is what we need to do. This is called Come Away. Come away for a little time apart, for the changing of the heart. Come away for a taste so bittersweet, where hope and heartache meet. Come away. Here is light to light the darkest maze. Here is song to fill the pathless days. Here is call among the crowded ways. Bread of life, wine of happiness and tears, faithfulness and fears. This feast awaits you here. Come away. I could dream of a world where the hungry are fed and all of the children can play in the sun. But a dream is a flash, and when waking is come, it dies like a leaf on the ground. I could dream of a world where fighting no more, and the weapons of war will be turned into plows. But a dream cannot live in the heat of the sun, and it withers no more to be found. desert land, and its fragrance is lost in the dawn. I could dream of a world where all people on earth could be partners and peers in the shaping of life. But a dream is a bird as elusive as mist, and she's born on the wind and she's gone. Where to begin? The walls are so high, we are so small. Dreamers and fools, feasting on hope, seeing the light, hearing the call. Where to begin? Challenge so great, we are so few, hearts overwhelmed, eyes filled with tears. What can we say? What shall we do? Here is light to light the darkest maze. Here is song to fill the pathless days. Here is call among the crowded ways. Bread of life, wine of happiness and tears, faithfulness and fears. This feast awaits you here. Come away. It's a time in between for a lot of us and for a lot of reasons. Some of us are just thinking about going back to life as it was. Some of us are not ready yet. It's a time in between all the discoveries that we're making about who we are and who we aren't and what we're doing to the planet. It's a time in between, and sometimes the time in between can be the most blessed time because you learn so much. So find the people who mean much to you. If they're not in your immediate environment, call them up. Meet on Zoom, email them, snail mail them. And if there are things between you that need to be resolved, work on those things. One last benediction. This is Earth Day, and so in honor of the earth, I want to sing a piece that we sang last year on Earth Day. It's called Children of Earth, and I've given it a new tune. Remember, next week we have two wonderful spoken word artists. The show is called Rise Up. In future, we're going to have a wonderful sort of international Hispanic and English music festival with singers who are Cubans and have done some wonderful, wonderful folk songs. Later in May, we're going to have an entire show. This is I'm splurging here. I'm a fan of the pipe organ, so we're going to have an entire show on the wonders of the pipe organ and how this instrument is a vehicle of praise and blessing. Right now, don't forget Sea Change, the album Sea Change, and don't forget to pick up Steve's album, Wouldn't You Love to Know? And here is our benediction. Children of earth, we are meant for communion, joined one to all in a holy design, bound by the thread that is life all renewing, free in the love of the weaver divine. Turn now from fear and from force and from fighting. Let every stranger be met as a friend. Turn to the task that is now set before us, wrongs to make right and the broken to mend. Weaver, be blessed and be praised now forever. Maker and giver and author of all. Grant us the vision to see past our blindness. Grant us the ears to attend to your call. Grant that our hands may be quick to your service. Guide now our feet in the pathways of peace, till all our swords shall be turned into plowshares, till all our wars shall be turned into wine of sweet communion, wine of home and place, wine of love and laughter, wine of gift and grace. Love whose blood was freely shed, a new life to release. Grant to us the taste of wine, till all our thirsting cease. Thanks for being here. Thanks for week after week after week after week being a part of this. If you want to donate, interlude.org, interluderetreats.org. Thanks for all the generous givers who have already donated to us. And thanks for your presence. And thank you, Emily Jane, for being our CRC. So long, everybody. Be well, be safe.